Amazon broke the internet this week talking about how they are bringing their cashierless tech into 2 new Whole Foods stores. So according to CNBC, Amazon is going to be launching this technology in stores that are scheduled to open next year. Both stores, one in Grover Park, Washington, D.C., and the other in Sherman Oaks, California. Chris, this kicked us off for sure this week. What are your thoughts about this?
I think it's huge news.
Yep.
We've been all over computer vision since the get-go, really. Pun intended. Get it? Get-go? Actually, in more ways than one. But yeah, we've been all over it. And I think this is huge news. I think for me, it heralds a couple things. One is it says that Amazon has this technology ready for full-scale grocery because they've talked about doing it in Amazon Fresh. They're now saying they're going to do it in Whole Foods, which is a different operation. So they're not doing it across 2 operations at full scale, or at least they're announcing it. That's pretty cool. The other important thing about this, and it's been talked about on social media a lot, but I think I will give credit to Celia Van Wickel, who, if you don't follow her, she's like the best. Honestly, she's like my best follow on LinkedIn right now. She comes
high praise.
She comes solid with the insights every week.
Yes.
But she brought up a point which others have brought up too, but I thought she did in a very articulate way, which is, it's another new store for the technology, right? Amazon's only deploying these in new stores, both in Amazon Go, Amazon Fresh, and Whole Foods. They have yet to retrofit an existing grocery store, which is the big outstanding question for most grocers on how to think about this technology. So the big question that remains for me, the second question is, who is the next grocer, and also not i.e., I don't know why I said that, but who is the next technology solutions provider for that grocer that gets solidly into the number 2 position here by way of retrofitting stores? And, for my money, based on everything I'm hearing in the marketplace, I've got to give my money to Trigo and Tesco on that because they're doing some really cool things. But, the space is very crowded. There's a lot of companies doing stuff, but, there's a lot to see what's going to, in terms of what's going to play out here.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Celia and I are on this exact same wavelength. I hadn't seen her post, but I think that is the key differentiator. These are all new stores. But what I think I would add on to that at the end is that as we're seeing this expansion of Amazon Fresh, I mean, yes, they only have 26 stores right now that are planned, that they've released, but we know we have 4 alone in just Minnesota. The Twin Cities market. And so my assumption would be that now, like you said, that Amazon can go and roll this out in a full scale grocery store, that once this expansion of Fresh happens, now grocers, you need to be prepared that those are not only going to be regular grocery stores you're competing with, but fully autonomous stores that are just going to continue to explode. And we don't even know just how big that's going to be yet.
Yeah. And there's one other point I would bring up here quickly too on this topic, because I think it's important. There's a lot of competitors in the space, and there's a company I find that had a very cool announcement this week with Carrefour over in, I think it was in Dubai, where they have a fully autonomous store. But not all of these experiments are created equal, right? That store, it's 1,000 square feet. It has no windows. So there's all kinds of things that make that easier. So I think, as we talked about with NVIDIA back at their webinar, over the next 6 months, you're going to see a flood of activity. But keep in mind the size and the dynamics of the operation in terms of where this technology is going into to make your determinations on where you think it's going to go and who it's going to go there with.
Exactly. Keep your rubric up. What are all the things that you got to be checking off? Like windows, size, is it a hybrid? Is it solely autonomous?
Brand new,
all these things, they're not created equal. Great point, Chris.